Now, let's talk about freedom. Where does freedom come from? You know, in the Declaration of Independence, it says, it uses the words, inalienable rights. What does that mean?
Rights that can't be taken away from you, rights that you're born with.
Exactly, rights that you're born with. In other words, we're born free. Now, is that limited to people in America, or is that true for everyone?
Every human being.
Every human being on the planet Earth, right? And then, how are rights taken away? How do we, you know, what happens? What's the process of losing rights, losing freedom?
That's a good question. I suppose governments are established and they rule on based on the majority, and sometimes our individual liberties or freedoms are sacrificed because they make laws that are for the good of the majority.
Well, is it good if they take away rights? Are those good laws?
Not if they're taking away my rights, no way.
Exactly. So there's such a thing as good government and such a thing as bad government, right?
Uh-huh.
So good government is a government that defends and protects the rights and liberties of people, of the people that they're, serving, right? Bad government is a government that takes away the rights and liberties of the people that they're supposedly serving. They're not really serving if they're taking away rights and liberty, right? They're oppressing instead. Yeah. So we have oppressive governments, which are bad, and we have good governments that protect and defend the rights and liberties of people. Now, the Founding Fathers, they established a form of government built upon the principles of freedom to defend and protect the rights and liberties of the people. And instead of being a ruling class over the people, it was an opportunity to serve the people. You know, because regular people, we're supposed to be a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. That's right. That's why the first three words of the Constitution is "We the people." Those are three very powerful words. So let's take a look at how this is written. Now, what's interesting is that in the language of the Bill of Rights, it's not an enumeration of rights as much as it is an enumeration of limitations placed on government so that people can remain free. Because they are born free. We're talking about remaining free. Okay? So like the First Amendment says, Congress shall make no laws respecting an establishment of religion. Okay? In other words, we're not a theocracy, right? We're a government where people can choose their own religion, freedom of choice. And it says, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Why would that be the very first two limitations placed on government? Why do you think the Founding Fathers put that at the top of the list?
Well, because they came from a place where it was like all about rule based on religion, basically.
Yeah, they had a king,
and there was king, the pope. I mean, it was all religious based, you know.
And then the British government at the time had an established religion, and they were forcing people to go along with that religion. Yeah. And was that working for or against the people?
I don't think it ever was working for them. I mean, there was always such a extreme class separation that I don't think that it was ever working for the people.
So the government should stay out of people's religious beliefs.
Absolutely.
Each person should have the right to choose how they worship God, right?
Well, if not, then we're not each free as an individual on this planet. Because there's so many different things going on the planet. You know, how can one say that one's better than the other?
Exactly. So each person has that option to make a choice. People are born into families where there's a religion, typically, in a family. But even the children now have the option and choice of choosing what they want to believe in when they go build their own families. Yep. Right. So that's freedom. Then it says, or abridging the freedom of speech. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, we should be able to say what we believe and what we want. I mean, if the government's like able to, you know, tell me what I can say and what I can't, then once again, I'm not free.
Exactly.
You know?
We should be able to speak our mind, right?
Yeah.
Or the press.
Well, once again, that's the median for all of us to find out about what's going on. I mean, when the press releases something, when they write something, that's supposed to be something that actually supports the people, not the government, not the people in power, which is kind of like it's went the opposite way, as far as what I see on TV, you know.
You know, the nature of man can be summed up like this. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So people with power, they tend to abuse that power, and other people suffer, right? Well, you know, the press keeps us informed. You know, we love the press when they're out there keeping us informed as to things that might be pertinent to our freedom, or anything else for that matter. So the freedom of the press, or the right of the people to peaceably assemble. So here we are. Nobody's got guns or knives or anything like that. This is a peaceful assembly of people in the living room on couches, right? See, this is a beautiful thing that we can get together and talk about things, and to petition the government for redress of grievances. Okay, if the government is doing something that's stepping on the rights of people, we have the right to petition the government to stop doing that, right? And we were born with that right. So the First Amendment's first for a reason. Let's go ahead and get into the Second Amendment and compare the two. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. What do those words mean to you guys? What does that mean to you, Sam?
Key word is well-regulated.
Yeah.
Whenever you have a militia, that's your security and the power to protect the security go hand in hand. So, well-regulated power is key word.
Okay, very good. And of a free state. You know, people can have enemies both foreign and domestic, right? You know, foreign enemies, you know, hundreds of years ago there was all this conquest that was going on. And even today you see conquest happening where a bigger army takes over a smaller country and then oppresses those people. Okay? So to remain free, we need to be able to defend ourselves. Therefore, the need for a well-regulated militia.
Yeah.
The right of the people to keep and bear arms. What does that mean?
Well, I mean, we've gotten so far off that path right there, just like with so many years now of like being rid of having your average person like having to give up their arms. I mean, that is supposed to be what actually keeps us in power as the people. You know, for them to start taking away that, I mean,